From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more Corner Pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
and Corey Clark.
There it is.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, Irish O'Fell talking grown-up stuff when it comes to Florida State athletics. The trench monster, Robert Cooper, sits down with Corey and I for like 30 freaking minutes, which was awesome. Thank you, Robert. Love you, big dog. And Michael Langston gives us a wrap-up of the recruiting day that was, including maybe a tidbit on a transfer portal offensive lineman from an SEC program. But as always, we are presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com. That is the website. You can put your order online. Hop in there, pick up your order, bring lunch to the office, be the hero of the day. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. I think Corey might be there in the next day or so, I think. Actually, I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it, but he'll probably be there. He loves it that much. Corey's not here at this moment. He'll be here throughout the show, though. Like lots of Corey Clark. I stayed up a little bit late. Wanted to drop some national championship news into the show. However, our guy, Adrian Wildshut, who had the best time in the entire track season, was not able to place out in Eugene at the NCAA Outdoor Championships. Tip of the cap to Jeremiah Davis, which, by the way, okay, so check this out. Jeremiah Davis, long jumper, jumps 26 feet 3 inches, which is just out of this world. Might even be indescribably good. Zaxby's indescribably good. But a guy from Tennessee tied him with that jump, so they both had jumped 26 feet 3 inches. But instead of like going on a jump off where it's like, all right, now you two guys, you're gonna do one more jump. Whoever jumps the furthest wins. They end up taking your second best jump. So the guy from Tennessee had a better second best jump. So he finishes first. Jeremiah Davis finishes second. And then Wayne Pinnock, that was the guy who finished first from Tennessee. But then Isaac Grimes, a fellow Nole, jumped 26 1 3/4. He finished third. So Florida State got 14 points in the long jump from Davis and Grimes. And then your boy, Trey Cunningham, blazing fast. 13.21. That was the best time in his heat. It was the best time out of all three heats. So that means he goes ahead and qualifies for the finals, which will happen on Friday. So we'll probably talk about that on Monday. Maybe he'll be an indescribably good player of the week if he can get another national title. But yeah, shout out to Trey. No Clark jinx. He runs 13.21. All right, enough of me. Here's Ira, myself, and Corey just talking about, grown-up stuff, ADs, hiring, firing people. Enjoy. Ira, as always, thank you for being here. We'll hop right to it. You're a busy man. Florida State, I guess the worst kept secret in Tallahassee, went ahead and announced Stephen Ponder as the new president, or was it CEO, I'm sorry, of Seminole Boosters. It's a difference, everybody. I should know.
It's both.
Yeah,
president and CEO.
Okay. Wow. Is that double the pay?
Yeah, two hats.
So he replaces, obviously, Michael Alford, who transitioned to athletics director earlier on, or last year, rather. I'm sorry. I'll get better as the show goes on, I promise. Ira, what have you heard about him? What I've seen, I know Jamie Warren, a representative of Seminole Boosters, who's an active member on our message boards, had good things to say about Stephen Ponder. I guess we crossed paths, he and I, in Oxford. When I was in Mississippi, he'd help Ole Miss build upon the success that Hugh Freeze had with building some infrastructure and facilities, which some people think are overrated on this show, but I think facilities are kind of cool. What do you know about Stephen Ponder and the hire?
Yeah, just that it's, again, they did a national search. I was kind of surprised when they announced a national search because, I think a lot of people expected Stephen Ponder to get the job when he brought him in, because when Michael Alford was still CEO of Seminole, when he was still the president and CEO of Seminole Boosters, he had the number 2 position became open. He brought in Stephen Ponder, and a lot of people assumed at the time that if Alford got the AD job, that Ponder would step into that job, and that ended up being what happened. But I guess they did a search in the meantime to make sure. But yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that he's been got a lot of experience in the ACC and the SEC, as you said. He's an NC State guy. He's been around the conference a lot, and again, Michael Alford. I don't think it was a big search when Michael Alford picked him to be his number 2. I think he's a guy that they've worked together in the past. They have a really good relationship, and was somebody he could, rely on to do things the way he wanted to do them. I mean, that's, so much of when these executives get in positions, a lot of times they like to surround themselves with people that they know are going to work the same way they do. And so he was his first hire at that level when he was with the Boosters. And so now he brings him over here. And, I think it'll just kind of continue that continuity, which is what they've wanted between the athletics department and the Boosters.
Are you still in quarantine?
I think I've got a couple of, dude, I'm out. Like I'm sprung in the sense that I can go out with a mask on. So I'm free. Look, man, and I'm 51 years old. So my first stop was at Costco. Once I was back on the road, had to get over to Costco, check out my people there.
You wanted to go to the most populated store, like you wanted to get around as many people as possible.
No, on a weeknight at like 5 o'clock. It's not that bad, actually.
All right.
But yeah, just wanted to check out my stomping grounds, and I'm back in the saddle. Well, again, I've got to mask up. I've got to do the right thing because I still have a few more days of the extra part of the quarantine. But I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking.
Well, I didn't ask how you were doing. I just asked if you were still in quarantine. How are you doing? How was it?
It was implied.
Sure.
I actually am more interested in how Robert Cooper was. How was the chat with Big Coop?
Oh, they'll find out here in a few minutes.
Yeah, everybody's going to hear that in a second.
I can't get a sneak preview?
I asked him about basketball. He played basketball at South Gwinnett, same school as Lou Williams, Ira. So we got to talk about that a little bit.
Did he watch Lewis growing up?
He didn't act like he did. I think he's too young, dude. He would have been like 5 or 6. That's how old I am, which makes me feel really old. Yeah, Lewis Williams is old. Like he's one of the oldest guys in the NBA, that makes me really old.
But no, man, my COVID experience, I get lucky, dude. First of all, this strain I think is a little bit more manageable for a lot of people, and then also I'm all vaxxed up, buddy. So I was boosted up, vaxxed up, and it wasn't too bad for me at all.
Just a tickle of the throat.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
Good.
Dr. Corey over here, Dr. Phil, Dr. True. What are we doing here? It's a weekly segment with Ira, everybody. You want it, you got it. Ira, I asked Corey once on the show, sometimes I just have these random questions all the time that come out of nowhere, and I kind of put Corey on the spot. But I kind of asked him, when will we know, when will be the first true test, I guess, of Michael Alford's reign here as athletic director? I don't know if wrapping up Lonnie was one of them. I know you probably talked about it in the headlines, but we haven't spoke about it with you here on the show. But him getting Lonnie wrapped up, obviously a big deal. Do you think that's the first real kind of true test of his tenure here, or is it going to be basically whatever happens with Mike Norvell this season? Either it's going to work out great and he's going to have to figure out a way to negotiate a contract extension for Mike Norvell, or if it doesn't go well, he's going to have to maybe figure a way to be in limbo with that, or will that be the first true test, or do you think getting Lonnie locked up was?
Well, actually, I think probably the soccer position. When Mark Krikorian left, that looked bad for Michael Alford at first. The fact that a three-time national champion, or two-time? Three-time national champion.
Should have been 4. They really gagged one away.
You're still holding a grudge, too.
Yes.
When Mark Krikorian left, and then the way he left, and some of those emails got out and all that, that looked bad for a new athletic director. But then when the numbers came out, and the fact that Florida State was offering so much money to Mark Krikorian, it was not a matter of FSU not being committed. I think that took a little bit of the sting off of it. And then going out and getting Brian Pensky, I believe is his name, the coach who was at Tennessee. That was a big hire. And again, he's not Mark Krikorian. He has not won 3 national titles, but he's very well regarded. Had built a really good program at Maryland, and then a good program at Tennessee. And so I think that was a nice, these are all data points. I thought that was the first one, locking up, Coach Alameda, I think is the second one. And then, I think what happens with baseball is probably going to be the next thing people are watching. None of that is as big as football, obviously. And if something dramatic happens with football, either the football team does great and Norvell gets poached, or if the team does terrible and, he doesn't handle it the right way, that'll be the biggest things to determine his status. But I think the next middle one on the road will be what he does with baseball. And that doesn't mean making a change, but it means being sure that it's on the right path, whether you stick with Mike Martin Jr., whether you make a change, whether there's a staff change up, whatever it is, he's got to, what happens with that baseball program is going to be something people evaluate as well.
Wouldn't you say, Ira, though, that the first data point was losing Krikorian?
It definitely was. Yeah.
So I think the second 3 and 4 were really important. Like, number one, getting a reputable coach from a big program to replace him, and then locking up Lonnie was a big deal on the heels of, your 3-time national championship coach just resigning out of nowhere and making it pretty obvious he wasn't retiring, and it wasn't about his contract.
Right. But I do think, it's funny, like the way that all played out, at the end of the day, I don't think Michael Alford took as much of a hit as we thought he might when it first happened. When
right. But that's also why he had to get Lonnie locked up, because no matter what the reasoning was, if his 2 most successful coaches on campus leave within a year of each other, that would be really troubling.
And also, some people wanted to connect the dots with Sue Semrau retiring, which I don't think was related. I think Sue Semrau knew she wanted to retire long before Michael Alford became the AD. But, because you get into optics. And then, of course, Gene Deckerhoff retiring. Some people wanted to say, hey, what's going on there?
Yeah.
This guy can't keep anybody.
Mick Huber. Like Alford's been so bad at his job, Huber's retiring from Florida. That's what everybody was thinking. Sure.
So, hey, I know this is a bit of another curveball, Ira, but what does happen if Florida State wins 9? Let's say 9. I know 8's the number we keep throwing out there, but if they win 9, this is year 3 of Norvell's 6-year contract. Would this is this a check-in point if you're Jimmy Sexton or whoever represents him, Glenn Sugiyama? If he wins 9 games, do you have to give him an extension? And if he doesn't win 9 games,
you don't.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Oh, good.
Hey, his agent is Jimmy Sexton.
Okay.
And you know what the call will be if they have a really good season. I mean, that's what that guy does. And so, you could sit here and say, well, winning 9 games at Florida State is not worthy of an extension. Certainly, maybe in year 3, that's not up to the standard. And that's fine, except if, he makes an improvement from the basement, the bottom cellar, from 3 wins to 5 wins to 9 wins, and maybe gets recruiting rolling and things like that. Now, if somebody else starts talking to him or a job's open and his rumors start circulating, I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to not write that check? Or are you going to not make that? I mean, it seems crazy to say.
But what's Norvell going to do, Ira? What is his possible landing spot if Alford's like, you know what, let me see 1 more year of it. And let me see you have a recruiting class that's in the top 10, and then we'll get you a big extension. But until then, we're going to ride out this contract.
Well,
What's
I don't know.
Going to do, not coach?
No, I'm not saying that scenario. No, if he doesn't have a offer or at least a premise of a school interested, then no, he's not going to do it. But man, that's what Jimmy Sexton does, dude. He's going to go to how do you think Florida State got? I mean, I'm not saying they got roped into Willie Taggart or Mike Norvell, but Jimmy Sexton's he plays all these schools as pawns. You know it.
But
at some
point, will that stop?
So, well, I mean, you show me the school that stopped it. I haven't seen one
here,
yet.
right now. We're stopping it.
But I just think what happens though is you let's go down that road. So yeah, they win 9 games, and now there's an opening. Maybe, I don't know, somewhere where Norvell has ties. There's a coach, there's an AD at a school that he used to work with, or there's a president of a school that was whatever it is, or some tie that there's loosely connections, or a coach or somebody that was in the AAC when he was killing it at Memphis. And then now Jimmy Sexton can create this scenario where, hey, now they're interested. They're looking at Mike Norvell. What are you going to do? I'm not saying that Mike Norvell's going to hold the school up, but Jimmy Sexton's going to do what Jimmy Sexton does. And so, yeah, man, they would have to pony up at that point. Just
I guess I would argue that Mike Norvell doesn't work for Jimmy Sexton. It's the other way around. If Mike Norvell wants to be at Florida State, and I love this hypothetical, by the way. I hope we're talking about an 11-win season,
right?
Or going to the Rose Bowl or something.
It's June. I had to think of something, Corey.
But it's like, man, I get what you're saying. This is what always happens, and the presidents and ADs allow it to happen. But Mike Norvell is not going to have a better job offer after a 9-win season at Florida State than Florida State, and it becomes almost not humiliating. That's not the right word, but it just becomes. It's over and over with these coaches, man. They just, okay, I'm going to ride 1 season. I'm going to play this sort of offer and get more money from my current school after 1 good season. And the schools always oblige. And I want one of them to call their bluff and be like, all right, man, go to Arkansas.
What's amazing though is it's not just the schools though, it's the fans. Think about Charles Kelly, the way when the rumors of Charles Kelly to Auburn.
Yeah.
And then Jimbo had to lock him up to a how many year deal? Like 6 years and 900,000 or something.
Almost $1 million.
I mean, nobody thought Charles Kelly was a big time defensive coordinator, but he comes in, gets that one, pretty good year. And now you got to lock him. You can't lose Charles Kelly. And the fans were on board with that. Just like they were with Rick Trickett. I mean, when Rick Trickett flirted, talked about maybe, what these other OL coaches are getting. And Florida State fans were like, we got to pay him. We got to pay him. We got to pay him. And then 2 years later, it's like, why do we have this guy?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm with you, man. It would be, hey, I'd just like to be back in the situation where, you're having to keep coaches instead of just firing coaches, writing $18 million checks.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be something?
And another thing I was thinking about, we'll let you go after this one, Ira. I mean, I did see that I think one of the longtime assistants for Kevin O'Sullivan in Gainesville has been let go after, I guess by their standards now, Florida's been underachieving here of late, not being able to get to Supers, not being able to get to Omaha. And it made me think about the whole argument that I've been having with, not argument, but just the concept of talking with Corey about, like, what do you do with Meat's contract? He's going to his final season and what you really can do. What are your options? We've mentioned obviously maybe like an assistant coach change, but if you don't give him the extension, like I don't know how the baseball community works out, but would somebody want to come work for Meat? Like, could he get rid of, let's say Jamie Bellinger and get another pitching coach if he doesn't have an extension? Is that something that we haven't really kind of thought about when we do mention that maybe an assistant coaching change could be part of the mix?
No, that's a fair point. And I think we talked about it a couple of days ago and we didn't really acknowledge that. That is a fair point. But man, so what are they going to give him, a year extension? There's no way they're giving Mike Martin Jr. more than a year extension, right?
Right.
So
maybe give him the 2020 makeup,
Is that going to be what gets somebody to say, okay, now that's a safe job? Like, I'll come there now. I mean, I just think anybody in this business who knows they're going to know the situation that Florida State's in. They're going to know the situation that this baseball team is in. And, that's going to limit the candidates. Just like, hey, honestly, I mean, it's, Mike Norvell went out looking for a couple of position coaches this offseason, at least one position coach this offseason, and wasn't successful in that endeavor. And it may have been because he doesn't look like a guy who might be here 2 or 3 years down the road. So that's definitely a concern. But at the same time, if it was bad enough probably to stand pat with the staff of a football staff where you have 10 assistants. If you feel like you have to make a change on your staff, you might have to overpay. Like maybe somebody who's making $400,000 somewhere else as an assistant coach or $300,000, whatever it is, maybe you got to double their salary and give them 2 years guaranteed or 3 years guaranteed to make it happen. If there's somebody you identify, so I think there's a way around it, but that definitely complicates it, no question.
And you would also think that like Florida State isn't a dead end job, even if you end up even if you're only here for 2 years. You must have done something in your career to come to Florida to be wooed by Meat and hired by Meat from some school. So you'll be able to get a job somewhere. It's not like you go from Florida State to nowhere. I wouldn't think. And also, Aslan, I think they're voting on, or are they going to vote on adding an extra college baseball assistant?
Yeah.
Like right now, they only have 2 full-time assistants. I think they're going to vote to add a third. There's a big push to have that. And I don't know how that, what that would matter, but I mean, I think that's a more budget for baseball.
Yeah. And I mean, there are always coaches, assistant coaches. We've seen them in other sports. You got the Kevin Steeles, and there are other coaches we know of in different sports who, they see opportunities to join staffs as an opportunity to maybe become the next head coach. And so you might have that as a motivator. Hey, I don't know if Mike Martin Jr. is going to be there 2 years from now, but if I'm there 1 year and I do a really good job, maybe I'll be in the running for that spot. So that part, and then the roster, if it looks like you feel like you can keep that roster intact and you like the talent there, those would be considerations as well.
Plus also Florida State's never fired a baseball coach. So you've got that history going for you. So whoever he's looking at might not know that there's these rumblings, because they have made the tournament every year he's been the coach. They might not know that there's a lot of angst down here in Tallahassee about the program. So just don't tell them about it. Don't even tell them what Warchant is. Don't tell them about a message board or anything like that. Don't tell them what Twitter is. And maybe they'll be coming in blind.
Yeah, I guess that transformation, because I remember it got shot down a few years ago, which made no sense. I mean, I think when Mike Bell was still around here being the pitching coach at that point. But yeah, I guess the whole NCAA transformation committee, which I think Jim Phillips, AD, or the commissioner for the ACC, is on that committee.
He is. Yep.
That's going to come up probably on their agenda to get a third full-time coach, which makes sense. I mean, come on, we got 12.1 scholarships and only 2 coaches. Throw them a bone. So, all right, that's all we got for you, Ira. Thanks for being a good sport about this, as always.
Thanks, man. No thanks for the no sneak preview of the Coop interview, though. But
man, listen to it in its entirety. It's 30 minutes, Ira.
What?
Yeah, it's a long one.
Coop gets 30 minutes. I get like 15.
That's right. And it's about 8 too many with you.
All right, man.
What's going on the website this week? Is anything cool going on the website?
Yeah, a lot of recruiting coverage. Obviously, we had Corey's big Trey Cunningham story that people seem to like. That was cool from your guys' interview last week. I'll be doing a basketball breakdown, kind of looking at what adding Bob and Miller. Now we know what the roster looks like. They had the 8 departures. They've had 8 new arrivals. So I'm doing a piece kind of looking at what this team looks like now going into 2022, 23 with this new roster. And it's, man, I think there's reason to be excited. I think a lot of people were really down at the end of last season. I think with the additions they've got, the guys they've got coming back, I think there's reason to be excited about the basketball team.
Awesome. That's our managing editor, Ira Schofel, warchant.com. Thanks, Ira.
Thanks, guys.
Ira. You did it.
Appreciate it.
Yo, you hear that? That's the sound of the hottest new club, the Zaxby's Signature Club Sandwich. It's everything you love about our original sandwich, but, clubbier. Hand-breaded chicken, bacon, and cheese, and your choice of Zax sauce or spicy Zax sauce. Try one today with fries and a drink. Only at Zaxby's. Can we turn it down now?
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's indescribably good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up Warchant.
We got Robert Cooper. We've got the real mayor of Tallahassee. They might say John Daly, but it's really actually Robert Cooper. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, Robert. We really appreciate it, man. How you been?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me, but I've been doing pretty good. Just getting better every day. That's the best way I can explain it.
1%, at least 1%, correct?
Hey, 1%, 2%, 3%.
Right. There's no limit. Yeah,
I'm saying you can't put no limit on getting better, baby.
All right, so Robert, check it out. We get this question a lot on the podcast. We have a mailbag, and people ask us, like, what are the players up to in May, June, and July? And, we're like, well, they're working out, but we don't really know the details of it, man. So can you let us know, like, what you're up to? I mean, you lift every day, I guess, right? Like, what can you get done in a 30-minute lift?
Well, ever since, we got back, it's been more of, getting back to the, we start out with the basics, with agilities, learning how, running and stuff like that. And, getting the weight room, very energized and stuff, just, just simple things. And, getting into, different, skills and drills, getting some, individual work and, some work with the, group defense and offense, getting their work in all together. And also, we have our, our player ran practices and just, just saying things, just emphasizing, especially us, just, what Coach Odell wants from us and, different things like that. So that's pretty much, what's been going on.
I don't want you to give away secrets, Robert, but like detail wise. So you guys have a morning lift. So
yes, sir.
You lift for like 30 minutes.
Yes. Morning list, it can go either 30 minutes. It can go for, some days it's, it's an hour, but it usually doesn't go, past about an hour and some change. But we definitely get the work in for sure.
All right. And then you guys have position meetings later on in the day. So like right now, like is Odell in that room or who's running position meetings right now?
It's it's a regular meeting, just still, Coach Odell, Coach JP, and then, we have our, our unit meetings once a week. And, that's what, all the defensive coaches. So
all right. Skills and drills, sorry, Corey, but I'll let you rip here in a sec. And then skills and drills. So like skills and drills, is that what you would do like in a practice in October before the Clemson game? Or is this like a completely different kind of workout that you would go through during a football season?
I'll say, it's pretty much the same, but, more emphasis on the, the technique and the basics, just how we want it to be. But that's pretty much the same, just trying to make it more crispier, people, getting people more used to it and, things like that.
When you go into an off season, Robert, and you've gone into quite a few, I mean, you're an old veteran here at Florida State. You've had quite a few off seasons. Is there a specific goal you're looking to get? And I don't know if it's like I need to lift a little bit more. I need to get a little bit stronger. I wouldn't think that would be the case with you. I need to do something. I need to work on this part of my body to get what are your specific goals other than getting better? Like that they tell you to do, and does it vary by player? I assume you might have a different workout than Dennis Briggs, because of what they're trying to do to y'all's bodies.
Yeah, like you said, everybody has their different things, but when it comes to me, this off season is more of working on just being more consistent, because I had some plays but it's just being more consistent will help me to help the defense, help the team, just everybody just being more consistent. That's the main thing I'm working on. And also just the little things that Coach Odell keeps harping on, just the movements, all the little stuff. That's mainly what I've been working on, just try to perfect my craft.
And do you do that? Can you do that in the weight room or the training room? Like what are you doing specifically in there to try to get better?
Training room, like you said, it's going into my fifth year, so I'm just trying to, keep my body as the, best as I can be. Back like sophomore year, it's things like that. Just that's what training room helps me. And then weight room, hey, I know I'm already strong, but I just I always want to keep it up there and make sure I'm always pushing myself to even get even more stronger and understand the different parts of my body and stuff, just get it better. And then practice field and the conditioning, that goes back to being more consistent. That'll help me just stay more consistent, just stay on the field a little bit longer.
If there was like a Royal Rumble contest between everybody on the Florida State football team, like there's 80 guys in a ring, and only one guy is throwing, like, who wins? Like, who's the strongest dude on the team? Who would you take to be able to lift everybody out and throw them out of the ring? I assume you're one of the finalists.
No, I'll definitely say I'll be one of the finalists, but I definitely say that we do got some strong guys on this team. I don't want to point my own self out, but
sure,
definitely got a lot. You got Verse, you got Fable. I mean, Steven, DJ. We got a lot of strong guys. But if I said there was a Rumble match going on, I'll definitely say I'll come out on top.
I mean, you're a big dude. You're quick for your size, and you've got to be one of the strongest. Like, I know Jared Verse is strong. I know Steven Dix and DJ Lundy are very strong for their size, but you outweigh them by 90 pounds, man. You pick them up like rag dolls and throw them over your shoulder.
Yeah.
How'd Verse look to you this spring? I mean, you mentioned him as one of the stronger guys. I mean, he looks the part, obviously, man. When you being in a meeting position room with them with the defense, what did you think about Jared this spring?
I really think Verse is coming along real smooth. I can say I expected that, just because how we operate in our room. We just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. And he's been going along with us just fine. In the meeting room, practice field, weight room. He just fits right along with us, working hard. Always giving his best and everything.
As a veteran, he comes in as a transfer. Jermaine Johnson, Keir Thomas last year, Jamie Robinson, all came in as transfers. And I wonder, as a veteran, a guy that came to Florida State, was recruited by Florida State, signed with Florida State, has been here for, I don't know, I think this is your 9th year, 11th year. I can't. But you've been here a good long while. What is what is it like now that the portal is what it is, and you've got an influx of dudes, man? You've got, over the last 2 years, you've gotten, 25 new players just from the portal alone that have already played at other places. Is it a different, welcoming process? And welcoming's not the right word. Than it is with a high school freshman. When you got a guy like Jermaine Johnson or Keir Thomas that's been doing it and is our older guys. I mean,
I say at first I would say it was a difference, but when you really look at it, it's really not. Just once you get these guys in and you try to get everybody on the same page and make them realize this is a family. Like we always going to push each other to be our best, and I mean, that's something that you're going to expect from us, every day. So, I mean, I feel like as long as everybody's on the same page, like we got with, with Jermaine and, Jamie, all of them, it just makes everything smoother just because, they'd already know coming in what to expect from us, just we're always going to push them, even on their good, bad days. We're just a family. Everything, we're going to ride with each other. It's just, that's just what we preach to them. Everything, we just a family.
Do you feel like the mentality of the transfers is different than like an incoming recruit? And I only ask that going back to Verse because we were out there at spring practice and he talks a world of to the entire offense. Sorry, you have to bleep that out, Aslan. But he like didn't tiptoe around at all at practice. Like, I'm the new guy. I'm going to kind of buy. Like, he jumped right in. Like, no, I'm going to bark at these offensive guys. There's going to be some animosity. It's going to make us all better. But do you feel like, is that an anomaly? Is he the outlier? Is he the guy that's not normal? Or do you find that with these transfers that they're maybe a little more confident and sure of themselves when they join a program?
Yeah, I'll say with transfer, it's just, you already got, played some college ball and, you already got some experience under your belt. So it's not like you coming into, something brand new, it's college ball is college ball at the end of the day. So, I mean, those transfers, they come in with, little experience. I mean, but they got some type of experience under them unlike a high school recruit, they just coming in and just don't know what to expect. These transfers basically some kind of know what to expect. And then even before they get here, it's something that's already been told, like, what to expect when you come to Florida State. So,
right.
But yeah, it's just, I'll say just the experience, like transfers already know what they're getting into.
Robert, it seems like, any athlete you speak to this time of year will tell you about, they're in the best shape of their life. Like, every guy's in the best shape that they've ever been in. Their team is working harder than they've ever worked before. Every team says that, right? But is there anything that you've been able to kind of like see or feel? I mean, we joke about how long you've been here, but I mean, like, you were in middle school and this program was playing for a national championship. They were in New Year's Six Bowls when you were in high school, and it hasn't worked out that way. And I know you want to get it back to that. I mean, how close are you guys away from that? What have you kind of seen that makes you think you guys are on the right path?
I honestly, I'll say we're real close. I believe it's the things I've been seeing is just, amazing to me, especially, throughout my years here, these past, couple of years, it feels like everybody's just growing all together. Everybody's just, all on one page, and, everybody's just trying to, be their best. That's the best you can ask for. Everybody's just giving their best. Everybody wants to be their best. And then we're going to hold each other accountable. I mean, that's something that people say they, what they want, you got to hold them accountable to it. And I feel like we've been doing a great job with that, even through, these past couple of weeks of summer and then back in spring. I mean, it's just holding guys accountable and just everybody on one page. Everybody know what the goal is, and we just working to it and holding each other accountable to get there.
Do you think last year, I remember McKenzie bringing it up after the game, and so did Coach Norvell, about almost beating Notre Dame. Like, you guys played really well in that game, especially in the second half, had a chance to win the game over a top 10 team after really struggling in 2020. But it was almost like the Florida State fans and the media too, we were like that too. Like, we were like, all right, man, that was a really good showing. But as Norvell pointed out, well, hey, man, we're not excited about a loss. But do you feel like maybe did that permeate the team at all? Like, hey, man, we are good. We almost beat Notre Dame. We should feel pretty good about ourselves. And then the next 3 weeks happened. Did you feel that at all in hindsight, looking back, that maybe y'all were a little too happy? And I'm not blaming you. We were all happy to see it, being so close to winning that game instead of actually winning it. Or is that just something I thought?
I mean, it was something, when you think back at it, that game, the main thing I remember from that game is just that we fought, man. That was just most teams in that situation really, shriveled up a little bit, but we fought to the end. Right. That gave me great signs from the jump. And then, like you said, those next couple games, and it didn't go our way, but if you really look at it, I mean, we fought. I mean, it's just that adversity we had. I mean, it definitely helped us throughout those past couple games, because I mean, at the end of the day, we was all still fighting, working for each other, holding each other accountable. I mean, It didn't phase us much. We always knew we always had to get back to work. I mean, even at the Notre Dame game, the second game, at the end of the day, we just got to get back to work, get better. And everybody was on the same page with that. So,
well, and I think when you bring that up, when you say most teams wouldn't fight back like that, I think you're speaking from experience, because a lot of the teams you had been on in the past hadn't fought back from like an 18-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Like it would turn into a 30-point deficit. Was that the main difference last year? Was that, you lost 7 games, but other than the Wake Forest game where you turned it over every other play, every game was really close and down to the last few minutes, and you had chances like Louisville, Notre Dame, other games where it was like, man, NC State, where you could have been blown out, but you guys kind of fought. And like, did you notice that as a difference between maybe earlier in your career?
That was one of the first things I noticed. Just Notre Dame game started off you just noticed the fight. Just like I said, I just noticed that from the first game, and like I said, that was something that that changed in this program was just the fight to the end. Like you said, them past years, we just didn't fight to the end, but this year showed big differences in how we fought from the first quarter all the way to the last. No matter what bad things happen, what good things happen, we always fought towards.
Why do you think that is? What changed? I know there's a new coach, but what do you think changed?
I'll just say, everybody's bought in, everybody was on the same page, and that goes back to what I said. Just everybody's holding each other accountable, because we all know what we want at the end of the day. And the best way to do that, everybody on the same page, everybody giving their best, and people making sure that others are giving their best. And I think that's just what it was. I mean, it ain't no more than that.
Robert, I mean, as a competitor, I don't think you've ever put on pads and a helmet and gone on a field and been like, we're not going to win a game. You feel that you're going to win every game, but
for sure.
There had to be some sort of realism with you and your teammates at certain points in the last 4 seasons here. Like, as you enter this off season and you look ahead to this upcoming season, you see the LSUs on the schedule and the Clemson, and you got to go to Miami. Like, is there a real genuine belief that you talk about getting close? Corey was talking about maybe some sort of complacency about being close against Notre Dame. Is there like the belief now that we have the ability to win every single game that we have on the schedule? Any team that we face, we legitimately can take them down.
Yes, we have all the belief in the world. Because we know the work that we put in at the end of the day. We know what we're capable of, and we know that when we're all giving our 100%, our best, ain't nothing it's going to be hard to stop us.
I'm not going to ask you about the Iverson jersey in the background. we talked about that before the video, but I am going to ask. You're a Georgia kid. You're an Atlanta suburban kid. No Trae Young jersey? Are you a Hawks fan? What's going on? Are you not a Hawks fan?
This might throw you off, but I'm a Clippers fan. I'm a Clippers fan.
Is that because of Terrence Mann?
No, it was I wasn't always into basketball, but when I started getting into basketball, that's when Lob City, right. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Chris Butler,
Paul,
Jamal Crawford. Yeah, that was my team. So I just been, riding with them since. So
you might be the only. I mean, I know Lewis Williams, who's from Snellville, also played with the Clippers.
He went to my high school.
Yeah, for a long time. But actually, you know what? A little trivia, Robert. I used to work at the Gwinnett Daily Post, and I was the first person to ever interview Lewis Williams when he was a freshman in high school, because he was averaging 28 a game as a freshman at South.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. So you're talking to a living legend right here. I got a signed basketball right over there, buddy. I could show you.
Man.
But I was wondering about a Clippers fan in Atlanta, because usually the bandwagon fans are Lakers fans.
That
you jumped on the Clippers like Aslan. He's a Lakers fan because they had Kobe back in the day. But that's cool that you liked the Clippers. And did you know, how much interaction do football and basketball players have? Like, did you know Terrence Mann? Did you have a relationship with him or Cabangeli or any of those guys?
I didn't. I wouldn't say, I can't speak for everybody, but I know me myself. I was real close with Malik. I still talk to Malik to this day. Malik Osborne, Devin, because Devin from Gwinnett, so he played at PC Ridge. So we we all came in together. So, I kept real close tabs with him. I still talk to Devin to this day. He's doing his thing with San Antonio. So
how cool is that, man? Like Devin, for the people that don't know, Devin wasn't a highly recruited kid, really.
No.
Not until in his senior year, he kind of blew up a little, but he still wasn't McDonald's All-American or anything like that. And he came in as kind of an afterthought for that team. And then he ends up being a lottery pick. How cool was that?
That's amazing. I'm still happy for him, even all the good things he's doing now, especially after this past year. And I've just been happy for him since. I'm just happy to just see him winning, man. Just see him doing this thing and everything pay off for him. I know he's been working, so definitely nice to see it pay off for him.
You never played ball? You never played basketball growing up?
That's my jersey right here.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah,
were you a two guard? What were you?
I played the 4 and the 5.
I bet you were down low a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's the most points you scored in a game? Were you more of a rebounder? You were kind of just a block them out and start the fast break?
Yeah, I was just more of a defender. I was a defender rebound. I wasn't too much with the, saucy points and all that. I was more the down and dirty.
Hard fouls, I hope. Yeah. No easy buckets, I hope.
No.
Robert, we always like talking about recruiting on here because I feel there's always good stories about recruiting. Can you remember you being recruited? Who finished second to Florida State? And what was your visit like when you did visit Florida State?
Like official or just?
Yeah, your official.
Okay, so my official visit, it was, I think I had a great time on my official. That's when, Coach Tag, I think that was his first, official visit weekend, and, definitely ate good, and, but, I spent some time with Coach Odell and, Coach Barnett, just going over different things and, just enjoying the campus more, even though I've been there so many times. So I had to act like, most of the things was new, but, like I said, I've been there so many times. It was just more just, relaxing, just kicking it with the coaches and, being around the players more, and because I knew that's where I was going to go. So it was more just, seeing,
You committed to Odell, right? I mean, you committed to Odell, right? I mean,
I committed 2016. Yeah.
So who was second? Like, did you go anywhere else? Was there anybody else that kept calling and hoping they could pull you away from Florida State?
Yeah, I remember, I signed early, so I didn't take any other officials but Florida State. But Georgia was making a late push, and it was a couple of ACC schools, but I wasn't really thinking of any other one because, like I said, I committed in 2016, and by the time my official came, and I'm already seeing, being around the guys and being around Tallahassee, just go ahead, already started getting used to it. I didn't want to put all that.
You didn't want to just for the trip, for the experience, go to another place and get wine and dine for a couple of days.
Nah, it was just more of I knew what I wanted. Just go ahead and just make it a done deal, and just went on from there.
As a player, I've always wanted to know this: how when signing day comes, and now signing day comes in December. It's not like back in our day when it was in February. It's that early one in December. Are you on Warchant? Are you on Twitter being like, okay, who signed? Who did we get? Or do you just check in at the end of the day and see who's who? Because I don't know if you followed it this year, Robert. Right. There was quite a drama. There was a lot of drama about your team signing class there. That morning, and I just wondered how much you're following the actual minute by minute updates of the recruiting class.
How I get in recruiting is more of when recruits come in, I speak to them, see where they're from, position, all that kind of stuff. Just get to know them. I talk to the family a little bit, but when it comes to signing day, it's more of I check it, towards the end, see what the overall list look like. But I don't watch it minute by minute, but I'm definitely I still know who we work. Will
you ask Odell like, hey, who do we really want out of this crew? Who do you need me to talk to? Things like that.
Oh yeah, I had to see what's going on with Coach Odell and see what his plans are and stuff like that, and so that's about it.
All right. Who was your host?
My host was Darvin Taylor.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
old Darvin. But
old Darvin.
yeah. No.
But it was a good time. He showed. I mean, he must have done a pretty decent job. He got you to Florida. I mean, I guess you were coming no matter what.
Yeah, that's why I said, it was just
it didn't matter.
That official visit was more just being around Tallahassee, just
right.
trying to see what I was going to get into. But go ahead and get acclimated to it.
Coop, what's your favorite class you've been taking at Florida State since you've been here?
My favorite class, I would probably have to say I'll probably say my intro to sociology, just because it was just a whole, bunch of different things. And we had a whole bunch of like different, interactive activities. Like I ain't never did that many activities on a computer before. But like I said, I was learning a lot of things a whole different way. So I'll say that was probably the most interesting.
What's the class life after sport roadmap to professional development like?
Is that you just named the class I got right now?
What is that class like, man? I got people to know people.
That name sounds so familiar. But honestly, realistically, that class is, very, very helpful. I think Monday was like my third day in there, but it was more, I'll say it's very helpful, just getting the connections and, knowing the different things you got to know, just, after college is over or whenever football is over for you, just getting the little basics of, they ain't going to throw it all on you. It's just more like the basics, just learning to make a resume, different financial things you got to know, and, little things like that. But I do like that class a lot, and I know we're going to be learning way more throughout this summer.
Do you have any idea, even if you have a great long professional football career, you're still going to be young when you go on to something else? Do you have any, like in your 30s, even if you have a really long and illustrious career, what do you have any idea what you'd want to do right now after football? Would you want to coach? Would you want to teach? What would you want to do? Get into broadcasting?
I actually had a thought about that, because, I just enjoy watching, and not even just, football, just, I follow football and basketball. So, I can definitely see, that. But as of right now, I'll probably just say just get into coaching, just having Coach Odell as my coach. And, the way he just breaks down stuff to me, and, I just like the way he, coaches. And, I feel like I definitely learned a lot under Coach Odell, to where I can definitely, share that same knowledge and with the others. And then I want to coach that basketball too, but I ain't gonna.
Right, you and Lewis Williams could take over at South Gwinnett, bring him back to glory.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Hey, I was gonna ask though, it's got to be cool as a guy under Odell Haggins. He's been doing it for so long. There are dudes that played long careers in the NFL that have the exact same experience you're having right now with him as the coach. So when those guys come back, and I don't know how often they do, but like a Travis Johnson or a Darnell Dockett, Broderick Bunkley, whoever, do y'all ever share war stories, like Odell war stories about, and do they say, is he still telling y'all to get low and stay low and all those things? Do y'all talk about each other like that? Talk about it like that?
That's, you pretty much hit it on the head. It's so funny to me, because all the things that happened ever since my freshman year, these guys come back, and it's basically like the similar stories. That's what's so funny about it, because it's like Coach Odell never changes, right. and it's all of our stories are so similar, and that's probably the most funny thing about it.
It's cool because he coaches you just like he coached Dockett, just like he coached Bunkley, just like he coached everybody else, just like he coaches a walk-on.
He doesn't spare feelings. You don't see a difference at all. He'll yell at you, cuss you out the same way, but he's gonna love you even harder, even after when it's all said and done.
Right.
So that's just the kind of coach Odell is. He very focuses on the little things of being a D tackle, D lineman, and he just forces you to think about those little things and stuff like that. And I definitely appreciate Coach Odell, everything he done for me, man.
Can you have an Odell impersonation?
I do got a funny Coach Odell story, actually. I was 16 years old or 15 going into my my first FSU camp, and I don't know if y'all remember Coach Brian Williams. He came down to Gwinnett, and I met him at a camp, and basically he told me to I can come up for an FSU camp, meet Coach Odell and stuff. So I get to the camp, it's scorching hot. I never been in no heat like that in my life. Georgia get hot too, that. But,
yeah, Tallahassee heat's different. Yeah,
it's different. So I get out the car. I'm seeing little heat waves. I'm like, you know what? I could, let's get back in the car, head back. But no, I ended up, coming in, and man, Coach Odell is like going crazy on me. And me, I'm thinking like, man, I'm just a 15, 16-year-old kid. He over there just yelling at me, telling me to go back, just screaming at me. I'm looking at my dad. I'm asking my dad for help, Coach Odell, after the first session, I'm dead tired. Like, Coach Odell killed me. He asked me about that. He said, is Coop coming back for the second session? I looked at my dad. I said, no.
We got to go. We got a prior engagement.
Because the plan was to stay for both, but the way he worked me out that first one, I was so young. I was like, I don't even want that no more.
But he liked you. Like, that's why he was doing that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Hard to see as a teenager, though. Like, oh, this guy likes me. He wants me to play for him. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it was wild, though.
You remember Rick Trickett? I don't think you were here for Rick Trickett.
I was here. He was at some of the camps. Actually, before I actually got here, I was seeing every time I came up here, I was seeing Coach Odell, Coach Rick, and Jimbo.
Yeah, because Trickett, I would go to those camps sometimes and watch him. He would cuss at an 11-year-old he was Cam Irvin, and hat whip him and son, get your unathletic ass out of here. And the kid's 11, and he's a little roly-poly. He's an offensive lineman kid.
Yeah.
He literally coached them the exact same way and didn't care about feelings at all.
Mm-hmm. I heard so many stories about Coach Trickett, man.
I'm sure.
Up, down, and little young and little kids. I'm like, man.
Yeah. Hey, get on them early. It's offensive line's no fun.
Yeah.
Last question for me, Robert. I mean, I know we said 15 minutes. We're going on 30 minutes here, man.
Oh, geez. Sorry, Robert.
Oh, no, you good. We good.
But, I had maybe a thought in the back of my head that, last year might have been maybe your last season playing at Florida State. You certainly were draft eligible. You certainly had stuff on tape. Did you go into last season having any thought about going to the NFL afterwards? And just how different does it feel now knowing that, there is no tomorrow, as Apollo Creed once said?
I mean, just going into last season, it was just, I already knew it was, coming draft eligible, just trying to put the best things on tape and help the team best as I could. And, that's as much as I went into, my mindset last year. But, going into this year and, deciding to come back, it was just more, I knew I didn't, I didn't play my best ball yet. And I know, my best ball is, is coming. And I just the way the direction this team is going, man, it's just lovely to see, and I know we can make this a very special year, not just for me and my last year, just in general. I feel like this year can be very special. That's what it came down to.
Nice. Maybe the Clippers will win too. Maybe Kawhi will actually play basketball again, buddy.
I know we're going to the finals next year, especially if they both on the court.
Well, that would be something, right? If Kawhi, I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah, it'd be really good, man.
What happened with Kawhi?
He's just been injured. He never healed. So he's played like 30 games the last 2 years. Hey, what are you gonna do? Terrence Mann's eating though. He's getting his.
He's been doing his thing.
Yeah,
he's been doing his thing. I've been watching him. Yeah,
just two Clippers fans talking back and forth, Aslan. You don't have to worry yourself with it.
Yeah, we can leave him out the conversation on this one.
We appreciate it, Robert. Thank you very much, buddy.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me.
All right, let's get to it then, Michael. You were at the big man camp, as you said. Who stood out to you and who jumped off, I guess, the page, who popped?
Yeah, I would say the main eyes that people were on was Wilkie Nod, four-star defensive end. That was kind of the one that everyone was excited to see. You could tell the coaches were excited to see him. They're pursuing him pretty hard, but they wanted to see kind of how he looks in this setting. And he's quick in space. Used his hands really well. Violent, got off the line. He was really he had a really solid day where he had very little trouble getting to the quarterback or to the spot they wanted to. And I think he ran around a 4.940, which isn't bad for defensive end. So went out there, and I don't think he heard anything with how FSU felt about him. So I think he had a great performance. Spoke really highly of FSU. You could tell, like, I dropped some nuggets and stuff on the board, but I could tell, like, FSU's kind of the preference. With the relationship's the best with FSU. Odell's the main guy that I think he talks to, and then obviously JP and Norvell are a big part of that. Visited last night. Everything seemed to go really well, and just his connection with FSU is undeniable. I mean, he really feels comfortable there, and he stated several times the FSU led, but I think he's kind of also giving other teams chance that, visiting other places. He's kind of going to do that and take some officials, but I think FSU's in a good spot there.
I know his profile says strong side defensive end. Is he a guy that we kind of anticipate setting the edge, not maybe as much of a pass rusher disruptor?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to look. I mean, he's really good against the run. That's what he's really good. But he showed me some pass rushing stuff today that, he gets off the edge very well. I think what they worked with him on was, utilizing your quickness in space. But the way you utilize that is the way you monitor your hands in placement of where your hands need to be right when there's engagement from the offensive tackle. So that's kind of, I think he's a guy that has skills there as a pass rusher, but yeah, definitely against the run, that's where he is tremendous. That's where he does the best. He even mentioned that today to me, and when I interviewed him, that his run support is really something that is a very comfort zone for him.
All right. Well, what about it is a big man camp. We're talking about defensive linemen. Was there anybody on the offensive side in the trenches that you thought might have been somebody the coaching staff took a liking to?
Yeah, I liked a lot. I liked 2025, and I actually just created his profile. I'm not even sure if Aslan could pull it up. I created it probably like 15 minutes ago. He's already gotten offers from Nebraska and Georgia Tech. He's a 2025 offensive line. His name is Solomon Thomas. He's out of Jacksonville Reigns. Very good prospect. I was very impressed. I love his frame. I love his size. This kid's going to probably be around, probably to 6'5" or 320 by the time he gets to be a senior. I thought he was the best offensive lineman. Just technique, footwork, finishing. The way he finishes really jumped out to me when I watched him. Today one-on-one. I thought he was clearly the best guy, and he doesn't have an offer yet from FSU, but I think he's going to get an offer. I think it happens this week sometime. So that was the guy that really jumped out to me. They also had Jamal Merriweather on campus, a 3-star offensive tackle, a little slender, probably around 260, but you couldn't really tell it when his frame's got a really strong upper body. He's committed to UCF, as I mentioned, and he's a guy that I thought did pretty well. He's got a lot of reach. He's from the same school as Kanaya Charlton. People recognize that Brunswick up there. That's same school as Kanaya. And I think it's even though he's committed to UCF, I think if FSU did push, I think he's a guy that I could see being in this class because he likes Atkins so much, and there's a lot of love about how he teaches stuff that I think he's a guy that, yeah, he's probably not, one of their top targets right now, but he is definitely a guy that they stay really consistent on. Merriweather told me afterwards that, he talks to Atkins like every day. He wants to officially visit FSU, so that's going to probably happen down the line, and probably for a game or something like the Clemson game, I think you could possibly see him officially visit FSU, but it really depends on the pursuit of FSU. If they pursue, I think FSU will be tough to beat there. But yeah, Solomon Thomas was the best offensive line outside, the transfer that was on campus. But I think Solomon in the performance of the camp was the best guy that I saw.
All right. That's it. Have a good one, everybody. I'm kidding. Let's talk about that possible transfer. I mean, he is in the portal after all from South Carolina, Jason Turntine. Being on campus, that's obviously a big factor. Has he visited any other schools, and where do you think he is in his decision-making process?
I don't think he's visited any other schools, and I think FSU's been the team that consistently I've heard the most communication with. It's a perplexing recruitment because
he's 6'7", 342. Good grief.
Well, he's not 342. He's not that size. That's incorrect. He's like around 328 probably. He looked good. People can see it. You can see the picture. we put it on the front page or it's on the PRB. I took a picture of him today, and he's probably around 6'6", 328, I would say, when I saw him. But the thing that's perplexing is a lot of your roster is already pretty much close to set. So adding a late guy like this, usually you have to make sure it's a comfort zone for everybody. Plus, he's technically not eligible where he hasn't finished his credits yet. So you have to wait until that is finalized too. And that's a big part of the equation where I think if he does that, which I expect him to, everything I'm hearing is fairly positive. As you can tell, he's not 340 there. That's not a 340 guy. From my perspective, I mean,
6'6" is. I mean, 6'6" is a big human being. But I got you. You're out there.
Yeah. So I think he's likely to get the credits and the grades and stuff go out, and then FSU just has to decide if they're gonna pursue and if they offer him, because they haven't offered, even though people keep saying he's offered. He hasn't been offered, and I talked to a very good source at FSU when it comes to offensive linemen that would know, and they told me, like, I got the indication that, hey, if the grades work out, this is a guy that we're probably likely going to pursue and add. And then the other dynamic is you have to make sure your team is everything's cool with adding somebody that late. It's one thing adding Dimitri Emmanuel because everyone kind of knew that was a place they needed a spot there, but this is more of I think a luxury that you do need a left tackle, which is his main position, but you got to make sure everything's kosher and it matches out well for what they want. So I think it's really really up to FSU, Atkins, and Norvell if, hey, are they going to pursue? I personally lean a little bit more towards they're going to pursue, and they're likely going to get him. I mean, that's kind of where I sit.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm trying to see what his draft eligibility year is here. It says 2023. All right. So this would be because he played in JUCO. He's only been in South Carolina there for 2 seasons. So I thought maybe he'd be a multi-year kind of rental or whatever. But I mean, to be honest with you, those numbers, these grades are not good at all. They're well below 60. Which is basically the barometer. Go ahead.
Right. I was just going to say he started for 7 or 8 years, or 7, 8 games, excuse me, with South Carolina. So he has really good game experience. He's played in the SEC. He's started in games. So he's a guy that has played there. But yes, the numbers, a lot of red and yellows in there that aren't like blow you away like Dimitri Emmanuel when you watch his numbers. So it's just it's more complex than people probably think of making sure that, hey, this is a guy we want to make sure it's worth it, because that's the other thing. It's like you don't want to go after him, and then what happens if his grades don't work out? Then you're stuck with nothing, and you wasted a scholarship. So there's a lot of dynamics to FSU to figure out. I would lean a little bit more towards that they're going to pursue and they're going to get him, but and it's pretty clear. One thing we do know that's clear: he's visiting FSU today, so that tells me FSU is the school that he prefers, because that's the only school, to my knowledge, that he's visited. I think he went over to FAMU too, just to chill, but in visit. So that's not a bad idea. But I think that kind of tells you where his mind's at, that his preference, you would think, leans towards FSU. So now it's just about it falls in FSU's court. Are you going to pursue? And that's what I'll stay on top of and see where we go. I think it's likely, but I would lean likely, not heavily lean likely, but slightly likely that he's probably a guy they'll pursue and probably get.
All right. That's just the tip of the iceberg of all the information that we have over at warchant.com on the premium recruiting board. Full 7-on-7 rundown. Austin Cox posted up at that one, and more information on Mr. Turntine and other prospects that Michael's going to keep an eye on. Hit that thumbs up again on the way. If you're one of those folks that you want to wait for us to earn it, I think Michael earned it. Thank you, Michael.
Yep, no problem.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.